If you've clicked on this video and you're wondering, what can they teach me about travel mistakes?
Well, you have reached the right place because we are experts in travel mistakes. We have made every one of them.
We have. We are full-time travel bloggers traveling the world. But today we're going to talk about 10 common mistakes that can ruin your trip.
So if you're watching this video, you're probably in the process of planning your own trip abroad and looking for more information so that you can plan a better trip.
So if that's the case, stay tuned.
We're John and Bev, and we are the Retirement Travelers.
Let's jump right in. Number 1 is don't overpack.
Yes, by far the number one mistake that we've seen and we've made is overpacking. Now, when we started off our trip, we had two 50-pound roller suitcases, and it did not take long, especially over the cobbled streets of Guatemala, to realize we were making a huge mistake. Now, we've transitioned. We carry two backpacks now, and we can carry on only. It's so much lighter. It's so much more efficient.
And it forces us to not overpack.
That's
because
right.
we're carrying
That's
everything.
right. If you only carry what's in your backpack, you're not going to overpack. And so we highly recommend it. You know, I can't tell you how many people in Europe last year where we actually had to help them carry their suitcase up a stairway into a train or a bus or into overhead storage bins because they just couldn't physically handle these giant suitcases. So, you know, one of our packing principles is only carry enough for 1 week. Number 2 mistake is worrying about what to wear just so you'll fit in.
We don't care about fitting in, but more so than that, you know, the mindset that you have to pack certain things to be able to not look like a tourist is crazy. Crazy. We cringe when we see these videos. What not to wear in Europe?
We watch the videos just for comedy relief. Like, oh, you need these certain style of boots, and you have to wear long pants, and you can't wear baseball caps, and we've heard it all.
We've heard it all, and this was kind of true 20 years ago in Europe. You could go to Europe, and you could really spot the American. They had a baseball cap on, they had a t-shirt, they had shorts, and oftentimes running shoes. And these days, you go to Europe and guess what you see? 90% of the people, unless they're in business attire going to work, you see a baseball cap, a t-shirt, shorts, and running shoes. You cannot spot the Americans. The key thing here is to wear what makes you comfortable. Now, there are occasions when you need to be cautious about the cultural norms going into a church or a temple. Anywhere you travel, you should be mindful of their conservative culture.
And bring something with you. Bring something to cover your shoulders if you're a woman, or a skirt. I carry one pair of long pants, and I take my ball cap off when I go into church, those sorts of things.
Yeah.
But you can manage.
Yes, and in Central America, we heard this a lot. Oh, you've got to wear pants. John can't wear shorts. He's got to wear pants. That was not true.
I wear shorts.
Number 3 is stop eating just familiar foods.
Yeah, sometimes when you go to an exotic foreign place, you'll see McDonald's, KFC, Subway, and the temptation is, we'll just go there and grab something to eat. But don't do it. There are so many other options to eat traditional or local foods and experience the local culture. It's definitely the way to go from an eating standpoint.
Yes, and another part of this is don't eat at just tourist hotspots.
Yeah.
We were just in Prague, and 5 blocks away from the main strip where all the tourists are, we walked up the street and we came to a cafeteria-style restaurant where it was packed with locals. We went in, they piled the food on.
I mean, it was piled on.
It was so good.
And it was about a third the price of what we would have paid 5 blocks away.
Yeah, we really are big believers in eating local food where the locals eat.
And we typically will say, just make us the most traditional dish or the most popular dish, or something that's of local cuisine. It always we can't always read the language, but if we tell them that and they understand it, we always get something good. Number 4 is don't just go to the tourist hotspots.
This is a very common thing if you're an American to go to Rome, London, Venice, Santorini. There's several places
Yes.
that Americans just can't get out of their head that there might be a better place to go than the tourist thing,
And
the
they're usually,
touristy spots.
Yes, and they're usually very crowded. They're more expensive. We've seen it with, if there's a cruise stop there, try to avoid it when you see a big boat there because everything is going to be more crowded.
Yeah, it is. It's really not even enjoyable to
No.
go to a place like that. Now, there are some great things to see in these cities, and it's an experience that, everyone should have, seeing the Roman Colosseum and all of those places. But if you just go to the next town over, you're going to get a wonderful experience.
Yes, we had some amazing experiences across Europe where there wasn't many tourists. The prices were much cheaper, and it felt like an authentic experience where you could meet local people. You'd see kids playing in the street.
That's kind of a key.
Yeah, it's kind of a key. If you don't see kids playing in the street, it's probably just a big tourist area. So it's fun to get to see how locals live in each of the different cultures. So get off the beaten path.
And here's an example of what we're talking about. Santorini is beautiful, and there's beautiful white buildings. It is something to see.
Yeah.
But the next island over, 45 minutes on a ferry, is Folegondros. Folegondros was not crowded when we were there. It was so beautiful. It had white houses.
It was almost uninhabited. There was very few people there.
It was just so lovely. We just had the very best experiences, and that was repeated all across the Balkans and where there weren't a lot of tourists. And we had just as much fun in the Balkans as we did in Italy and Greece.
Definitely get off the beaten path and don't just go to tourist places.
Number 5 is stop being reliant on cars for transportation.
Yes, what we mean by that is, there's so many options for transportation. There is metro systems, there's trains, there's buses, there's ferries, you can walk. I think it stems back to the fact in the U.S. we're pretty much a car-centric culture. We don't do a lot of trains and buses, and we get reliant on cars. And when you travel abroad, you don't need that. We have not had a car for 2 years, and we've done fine.
We have, and one of the things that we love is using our Apple Maps, Google Maps. They all give us the option of getting directions using the local transportation. It tells you on your Apple Map or your Google Map what platform to go to, what the train number is, what direction it's going, how many stops it's going to make. And that's the case for buses, it's the case for metros.
Yeah.
We walk a lot of miles. Everybody that travels with us comes back and says, I think I lost 5 pounds because I walked everywhere with
That's
you.
right. And the other thing is you will save money. If you can walk rather than a taxi, or recently in Auckland, it was about a $50 taxi ride to get to our hotel. We took a bus and train for about $6. So you can save a lot of money.
And a lot of times you can use your phone to get through the metro system. In Sydney, you didn't even need to buy an Opal card. You just walked up with your iPhone and clicked your Apple Pay and you were through. That was the case on the buses. It was the case on the metro. This is a really big topic for us because we see how invaluable it is. When we started traveling through the Balkans last summer, it really hit us because you couldn't rent a car and go to carry it from one country to another and cross all of these borders. And you certainly couldn't leave it in another country. So that created a problem where we needed to cross the borders because the trains don't connect. And we ended up hiring some private drivers, and towards midway through our trip, we were like, let's just take the bus. And we took a local bus, and the buses were awesome.
They were fine.
We didn't mind it at all. We never take a Greyhound at home, but
well, we remember the bus between Kosovo and Albania, and you wouldn't think that was going to be like the best bus in the world. It was perfect. There was only like 8 people on the bus, and we had Wi-Fi the whole way. So, don't rely on cars only. There's lots of options out there for you. Number 6 is stop going only on planned tours.
This is a biggie because we like a good tour, and we have a lot of friends who are older who take tours, whether it's a Viking River cruise or it's some sort of a learn and tour group, we love that idea, and we'll probably join some of those. But we also see the value in planning our own trips, and that's something that John and I really hope that we can instill in you. If we can do it, so can you.
That's right. There's so much more flexibility. Well, there's also the satisfaction of planning your own trip. You can go to exactly, what you want to see for as long as you want. When we were in Belgrade this summer, every single day there was a Viking cruise group came by, or more than one, and we just saw these rows of people marching through towns with their headsets. And I tell you what, I'm sure that they learned some things that we didn't learn, but we loved having the flexibility of just going wherever we wanted, when we wanted, and not have to, rely on a tour group or have to get back on a ship at night. So our advice is don't just rely. I mean, go on some tours, but also plan some trips on your own and get that satisfaction.
And one of the things we're trying to do as travel bloggers is to give you valuable information so that you can plan your own trip.
Yeah.
If you are going to, let's say, Valencia, Spain this summer, you can pull up our blog from there and you can see all the things that we did and our advice for your great adventure there.
That's right.
We are trying to help you plan your own trip. Number 7 is stop being comfortable.
Yes. You know what? During my working years, I used to have a saying, try to get comfortable being uncomfortable, because you're always going to be in these situations where you're not comfortable. And that's life. I mean, you can't avoid traveling to certain places or doing certain experiences just because it makes you a little uncomfortable.
Yeah, it's one of the biggest things we have to overcome. And sometimes we arrive in a city and we're uncomfortable. We arrived in Marrakesh this summer and we had heard all these things about how
People getting
chaotic
robbed
it was and so it made us think, we better be really careful. And John booked us a hotel that we knew our taxi driver could drop us off at. We didn't have to wander down some dark alley to find our hotel. So we kind of mitigated that uncomfortableness of us. But now that we've been there, we know we'll go back next time and we'll book it wherever.
That's right.
Because
we're much more comfortable. Our confidence level has grown. And, recently in New Zealand, I tell you, I went bungee jumping and I was very uncomfortable when I was standing up on that ledge, but afterwards it was so amazing. And now, heck yes, I would do it again. And things that made us uncomfortable a month ago or a year ago no longer make us uncomfortable.
I'm still not comfortable with that idea of doing it.
But definitely,
I can watch you, but me myself,
definitely get out of your comfort zone and don't do just the things that make you comfortable. Number 8 is stop trying to do everything.
Yep, this is a biggie. We learned very quickly. We were traveling through so many cities and at a fairly quick pace. So we learned very quickly, this is our lifestyle. We are out on the road, but we can't go into every city and do everything on the list.
There's a lot of big churches. There's a lot of big museums. You just cannot do them all.
We just try to pick the things that really interest us that week and go do those things and give ourselves a break that we're not going to do everything. I mean, if you're coming to a great city like Paris, there's thousands of things to do. Pick the things that you really want. Don't kill yourself trying to do them all. Just figure, I'm going to come back and do it again.
Try to give yourself some variety too. I mean, pick your favorite cathedral, go pick something historical, maybe do something active, go take a cooking class. Try to do a variety of things, but just don't overstuff it so much that you don't enjoy it.
Number 9 is stop listening to what everyone says about a particular place.
I know. I mean, if we listen to everything that we read on the internet or what people told us, there's a number of countries we would have never visited. An example is Guatemala. We had an incredible time in Guatemala. We would go back in a heartbeat.
We could live there, actually.
Yeah, I mean, it was amazing. And people said, oh no, you're going to get robbed. Don't go there. Don't do this. And you know what? There are places, just like there are in the United States or Mexico or anywhere else, you don't want to go. And you need to do your research. But that does not mean avoid visiting a country. And last but not least, number 10 is don't forget to do your research and be sure to check out our website for lots of great travel information.
We are working so hard to provide information on the places that we go, and we hope that you'll check it out. Check out our places, sign up for our newsletter, subscribe to our YouTube, but we're trying to bring you some information that can help you be a better traveler and have a great time.
Yeah, we try to share our experiences and give you a feel for what a place looks like, and some of the highlights of things that we did in our blogs of the cities. So be sure to check out the website, and we hope that you have fabulous travels of your own, and we'd love to hear about them. Be sure to hit subscribe and follow along on our retirement journey around the world.